Welcome to a new video lesson. In today's lesson, I will give an analysis of Clear Light of Day by Anita Desai. So, let's begin. In the last section of my previous lesson, I have discussed about the condition of Miramashi, the deteriorating condition of her, and today we will continue after that. So what we see here is that Dr. Biswas's presence in the house was almost for every day. He was summoned almost every day, if not for Miramashi, in order to subdue her, in order to control her, and to put her to sleep. It was for Raja because of the temperature. Raja's temperature was quite the same at the same point, and he flushed with unnatural color. Bhim, who rushed from one room to another in an effort to cope always to sound of Baba's record grinding out on the gramophone, one cabaret tune after the other, relentlessly gay and unquenchably merry. So what does this show? This shows that the presence of the family is totally different from the family members, totally different from one another, where Bhim is trying to control and hold all those things together, all the members of the family together. She is the anchor. She is trying to hold the family, the ship of the family together. Okay, where everything is falling apart, where Miramashi is not in her senses, where Raja is suffering, where Baba is always in her own senses but not quite normal, in a normal way. So what we see here is that Bhim is constantly rushing from one place to another, one room to another, in order to take control of the situation, make the situation normalize. Another factor over here, we will see that the absence of Tara. Tara has no participation among this chaos. She does not participate in the chaos. She is totally different. She is totally aloof from the conditions that are happening over here. And what we see here is that they are completely, the situation that are present are completely different from one another, and they are in their own world. Okay, so this surprised Dr. Biswas, and even he asked at a time that how can you bear it. So it shows that he has compassion for Bhim, and he is amazed to see how could a girl in her teens or just out of teens is able to manage everything so efficiently. Okay, where no one else is there to support her. Bhim shrugged and tried to explain how her mind was occupied with far worse problems, that it barely registered any sound of the existence of Baba. Okay, so the sounds of the gramophone are associated with the existence of Baba, because those gramophone, those stones, those pebbles that he felt his life with, those things were proof that Baba is still existent, though aloof, though not quite participant in the family business, not quite participant in the family matters, to say. What we see here is that those things are an example that she is, or she has some power over Baba. okay, or Baba is still present, at least physically, with the family. Clear? So that is more important, that is enough for Beam, that is enough expectation of Beam from Baba. Okay, so what we see here is that you don't care for music, don't you? Persisted Dr. Biswas with a reluctant to leave, although he got no encouragement and hardly any attention from her. So what we see here is that Dr. Biswas is constantly trying to get the attention of Beam, because he has affections for her. He has been growing some feelings of love for Beam. Maybe it is out of compassion, out of curiosity, out of the helplessness that Beam is, that is not quite easily explained, or maybe it is genuine love. That is not our point to discuss, but this is happening. Okay, he got no encouragement, still he hardly any attention, he did not get any attention from Beam, but still he was very reluctant to leave. He was very reluctant to leave Beam alone. Beam was wondered, do I? Wondered, I don't know. I seldom hear any part of that. She jogged her chin slightly. So, what Dr. Biswas asked is that whether this music had any impact on her or not, whether they bother her or not, whether she likes her or not, likes those music or not. So the presence of Beam, the existence of Beam has reached such a level that she does not even have the time to care whether what she likes for her, whether she likes the music or not. She does not care at all. Okay, she does not have the time to care. Okay, because the situation is such, she cannot take into consideration of her own likings. She cannot spend time for herself. She is so engrossed with taking care of Baba, she is so engrossed with taking care of Raja and Aunt Meera, that she is forgetting, she even don't care what she likes about herself, what are her likings, she does not. Okay, but Miss Das, you must, he pleaded seriously. Music is one of the greatest joys. So what Dr. Biswas is trying to do here is that Dr. Biswas is trying to narrate, try to narrate a situation where music would be helpful for Beam. It would give her joy, it would give her a presence where she can be able to do things more joyfully. But Beam is in such a condition, Beam is thrown into such a condition that she has no time for herself. She does not even care what she likes. But this is for the first time after getting into her teens and the responsibility of the family falling on her, that it is for the first time that someone is giving attention to her, and she is not even bothered about it. Okay, because she knows that what her conditions of the family are. Okay, and though she in the next next sentence rather, she accepts or gives a kind of little attention to the doctor who is so ardently seeking so, where she says, yes, does it mean that much to you? So this is for the first time that Beam is asking any question out of the context of patient and doctor, out of the concern for Raja and Miramasi. Okay, so this is for the first time that we see that after that incident of asking him for tea at in the baranda. Okay, so this is for the first time that she has given her space to be intruded, her space to be shared with any unknown person who is trying to get a bit of attention, a bit of love, or is trying to give a kind of love for her. Okay, this simple act of questioning gives Beam um, life. This gives Beam a life, a chance to get over this situation. But what we will see here is that she is not Tara, she is not like Tara. Her main concern is to get the family right, get the family members right. Okay, so what we see here is that this simple question gives the eyes of the Dr. Biswas, a brightening look. Okay, her eyes shone. It is almost the only pleasure I have. So the only pleasure that the doctor has is revealed out, and this revelation shows the innermost feelings of Dr. Biswas, and this feeling is expressed to Beam because he is already in love with her and he wants to share the space, share the feelings with her. Okay, and he assured her without in life about to be drab, it would be only drudgery. Miss Das, he added quickly, clutching his bag to him, will you come with me to a concert on Sunday? So what we see here is that this person has a life outside the life of a doctor. Okay, but Beam, even though she is not a nurse, but she has become a nurse for the family members. Clear? So this is what is seen here. The difference is that the doctor is taking the life of a doctor, has taken the responsibilities of a doctor wholeheartedly out of as a profession. But what we will see here is that Beam has been forced into being the nurse, being the nanny of the house of the family members out of compulsion, forgetting about her own life. So the only fascination, the only thing that helps the doctor is music. So he lends out that sense of music, that he lends out that space to Beam in order to get her out of this situation, and also in order to include her into his space where he can love her, where he can express her love more clearly. Okay, so he mentions that the amateurs but not bad for 2 hours, and the Brahms and Schubert, and it will be played there at the by the Delhi Music Society in the Freemasons Hall. Okay, so these beautiful sounds he rushed on, sweating, and one forgets everything. So this phrase rather is much more important in describing the situation. Why? Because this music, this musical festival or the musical performances help the doctor forget about the day to day life existence. Okay, and what we see here is that this helps him to forget that, and he is lending out that space, he is showing that space to Bhim in order to make her forget what troubles she has in her own life. Okay, so it will be an escape, it will be an escape for uh, Bhim, who does not go out of the house, who is not able to go out of the house because of the responsibilities that she has taken over herself. Right. So Bhim studied him as if were curiosity in a museum with the curiosity of an inspector. But what she says that Sunday, no, quite impossible, doctor. I can't leave the house. Pause. So she is bounded up, she is bound by all the things that is surrounded within the house, all the responsibilities that has crept on her, all the responsibilities which has been imposed by her own nature. No one has imposed on her, but the situation, the time has imposed on her. So even the space that was offered by the doctor could not remove her, or move her rather, from the space or the duties that she believes in. Okay, those duties are here in a space, those duties are here in a space so binding in a way, so bindingly present that she cannot get out of that. Okay, though it would be unjust to say that Tara got the chance in a better way and she could escape the family. But what we see here is that Bhim also got the chance to escape this family, this boring family, this nothing happening inside the family. But it is the choice that one makes that shapes one's future. It is a basic truth. It is your choice that you make that shapes your future. Tara chooses to be with Bakul. Tara chooses to be with Bakul, and that leads her to be aloof from the family. Whereas it is Bhim's nature that she cannot leave the family in spite of the option to do so. In spite of the chance to do so, she is not able to leave the house. Though there is allurement, though there is chance, but she could not. She waved her hand in sweeping gesture, taking in 1, 2, 3 bedrooms, all opening out onto the veranda. There, where they stood, suddenly she was struck by a humor of it. And so, all the 3 rooms contain 3 patients, right? And she is as if the nurse. It seemed so intensely funny, her standing here with the doctor, guarding these 3 doors with 3 patients behind them, and the doctor inviting her to the concert of the 18th century European music in the middle of the riot torn city. So it appears to be funny to her, but what there is in this section is that it shows that she still has the chance to escape the situation if she thinks about herself only. But the character of Bhim is such that she is not a one who would escape, who would leave the family members astray. Okay, she is the one who will try to take the ship to the shore. Okay, so what we see here is that in spite of the building collapsing, not not literally, in spite of the family being deserted, in spite of these things being uncontrollably powerful, she is trying to hold the things together. She is making sacrifices, though it might be, it might seem little, that what is there a sacrifice, what kind of sacrifice is that, but by not going to a concert. The implication is of not going to the concert is such that you will understand that she did not even marry, she did not even get a chance to marry because of the responsibilities. Okay, so the sacrifice of not going to the concert may seem levy, may seem just a bit, but what we see here is that it has a great impact on her own life. Okay, she is never married, she did not get married. Okay, so it is the choices that we make, it is the choices that we make that shapes our future. Okay, so quite uncontrollably making the doctor smile uneasily and then murmur goodbye and slide off sideways in a hurry. So the sacrifice of the concert is for the family. The sacrifice of the concert shows, gives a hint or the sacrifices that she can make. It might seem to be a trifle, the sacrifice of going, of rejecting the offer of going to the concert, but this would cost her own life, not the life as in your life, but the growth of your life. She would be alone forever, there would be no one with her to share her emotional space. Okay, everyone will leave the family. As Baba is always aloof, he cannot be counted in, but what we will see here is that she will be forever alone. But what we see here is that the character of Beam has been emphasized here. She is not thinking about herself, she is not caring about the future. Whether she understood this, understood the impact what might this rejecting can lead to is not clearly mentioned here, but what we see here is that it shows the dominant characteristics of Beam's character. The dominant characteristics is that she is more concerned about the patient, the family members here, than to get her life straight into a happy path. Okay, she was still grinning herself when Bakul brought Tara home. So what we see here is that 3 rooms, okay, 3 rooms have 3 patients and is being guarded by the doctor who is present frequently, almost every day, but it is being guarded 24/7 by Bim. Okay, what we see here is that Tara smiled at her with a small apprehensive smile the doctor's face had, and Bakul stopped beside Bim on the steps, lighting himself a cigarette. "You find life amusing, Bim, do you?" he asked. She placed her elbow on the balustrade, and looking, "Amusing isn't it exactly the word, but interesting. Interesting enough." He sucked at his cigarette, regarding her, his eyes openly admiring her. So what we see here is suddenly he took the cigarette from his lips and exclaimed, "Bim, why do you have grey hairs already? You are much too young for that." So what we see here is that when Beam is always present 24/7 to guard the house, to take care of the family members, another daughter of the house, Tara, is always aloof. She is always into her own life, always mending or always taking care of own life to get out of this situation. Okay, all the instances show that Tara has no participation in maintaining in the home. Every time she is brought home by Bakul, even in the present, she is brought home by Bakul. Okay, from a fanciful world of their own. Okay, so this fanciful world leaves a smile in the Tara's face. She has no participation in the family. Same is the case in chapter 1. After so many years, when she returns from a fanciful state. Though what we see here is that Bakul is questioning about the presence of grey hairs in Bhim's head. So she stood up straight. Grey hair? Where? I don't. Feeling her hair tucked into beads, stare at down the nose. You are making fun of me. So what we see here is that every girl, or most of them, most people takes care of themselves. They are concerned about how they look and how they appear before others. But Bhim is so concerned about the family member. She is so concerned about taking care of others in the family. She did not even look at her. She did not have the time to look at her own appearance. So the grey hairs have not appeared to her. Okay, no, I am not. Look here, he said, and touched the hair at her temple and the finger. She took the strand from him, brought it before her eyes, and frowned as it. Yes, she said flatly, even little proudly perhaps. It is grey. I didn't know. So, while caring about the whole family, she has no time to look at herself. Okay. What Bakul replies is that you have too many worries. This kind of people is present everywhere. They will know everything. They will know that you are in problem, but they will comment on it, but they will never come to help you out. Okay, they will come only to help you out when there is a need for themselves. Okay, so that kind of person is Bakul. He knows that Bhim has too many worries. Even after knowing that Bakul is never present to help her out, Bakul is never present or never even asks Tara to help Bhim. Rather, he said in some pages back that she would take Tara out of this madness, out of this condition of the society. So, how you don't have the right to question or even comment about the worries of Bhim. Okay, Bhim did not reply to this, and the conversation. She already had this kind of conversation a few minutes ago and was bored with it. So there was no roughness that could catch the interest nag, but he could not bore her today. Bhim, he said again, sorry, would it add to your worries or would it lessen them if Tara married me? That is what Bakul is all interested in. Okay, so as I said that people will never come to, they will comment on your problems, they will comment on everything, but they will never come to help you unless they have some interest in it. Okay, Bakul is concerning or talking about these worries or commented about these worries only because he had the interest of taking away Tara. Okay, he is only concerned about Tara. So, as diplomatic as he is, yes, he is a diplomat and he is rightly so. So, what we see here is that he is not concerned about the worries of Bhim, but he is actually concerned about his own marriage. Okay, so he is concerned about taking Tara away from all this. So see the diplomacy. He talked about the gray hairs. He talked about the worries uh, that are present with Beam within Beam. But what we see here is that he is least concerned about that. Okay, he is much more concerned about taking Tara away. Clear? So Beam is surprised, and she is startled, and she had still been regarding the grey hair between her fingers and hung like a bit of pale ribbon. Oh, I see. You want to marry Tara? Yes, I thought you did. I think she wants to marry you too. Yes, she says she does, but wanted me to speak to you first. Okay, so they have all been planning this behind, as we have known before, as we are informed before, but this is the first time that uh, he is saying so. Oh, did she? Loved Beam. I am head of the family now, am I? So, as I said before, also that Beam has always uh, taken care of the family, um, eh, even from the even in the existence of Aunt Mira, because uh, Miramashi is not in a state to take care of the family after the death of the parents of Beam and Beam Baba and the others' parents. So what we see here is that Beam finds it amusing and finds it a kind of reproachable. What we see here is that Beam is becoming the head of the family, and this being the head of the family is not a process, it is not a thorough process or an organic process, but it has been imposed. It has been imposed on her. ঠিক আছে, through time, through situations which has forced her, to be the head of the family. And this is a kind of position which will also deteriorate her own personal life. By giving in to the demands of the family, by taking care of the family, she would not have any life left for her own. Okay, so she will be left with herself, she will be concerned about herself, but she won't be able to do anything, because she is much more concerned about the well-being of the family members. Even when that person is fit, that person will never come up with the strength, never come up to help Beam. They will comment, they will take their own course in life and will leave Beam to her own existence. Okay, where there is no one to help Beam. Clear? But though the headship of the family has been imposed on Beam, but she is not kind of a person who is there to speak on that. She is much more reluctant on those matters. She says that I don't think you need to ask anyone except Tara. Modern times, modern India, independent India. So what we see here is that as they have already made the decision, as Tara and Bakul had already made the decision, so asking asking Beam is just a mere formality which she does not care about. She has more important things to care about. Okay, so what we see here is that this family is in such a state, this family is in such a state where everyone needs Tara's attention, or apparently Tara's attention. Sorry, Beam's attention. But what we see here is that Tara has already made her own decision of leaving the family. She is never present to help the family. What we see here is that she is taking, she means Beam is talking correctly, because Tara has her own life. There is no rule, to bind her over the family matters. Okay, she is in no such position to do so. She has not written, she has not signed a contract to do so. It is her own life, she can take her own decisions. That is what Beam feels like. Okay, so what we see here is that if you be a member of the family, you have to take care of the family. That is not the written contract. Okay, it is up to you, and whether you will help the family. It is up to you only whether you will take steps to help the family. Okay, it is not dependent on anyone else, and this decision will change your life. As we will see that this decision of whether to help the family members in their disastrous situation, how it will change the life of Beam and Tara, two different courses, how it will turn them in two opposite directions, where Tara would be happily married with two daughters, whereas Beam would be still be single. Okay, so Bakul never liked this kind of attitude of Beam when she spoke in such manner. So I can speak to Raja, of course, if you think I should. So Bakul is trying to be formal again. No, don't worry him, she said sharply. I don't like you have all the worries of the family. So ironic. So Bakul says that I don't like you to have all the worries. Okay, but she could have said, but what we see here is that Bakul is all talkish, always talking that I am so concerned and about and this and that, but he is never there to help her out. Okay, so ironically he says that you are listening the worries, aren't you, by taking Tara off my hands. So this is ironic, because the only person who could have held Beam is Tara, but actually what she is saying that you are listening my worries, right? So she is not at all a person who would be there to help. Tara is not at all a person who would be there to help, but who would be a worry for the family, worry for Beam. So what we see here is that Beam saying such words clearly shows that how can a person be so self-centered. I am talking about Tara. They are so self-centered that I am not judging anyone, but this is the fact that Tara is completely self-centered. So Bakul is also like that. Will I, or is she a help to you? Right, Tara is of help to Beam. Never. She was never there to help Beam. Whatever. You will be grey haired. I won't praise her now. Not till later, when Raja is well and Baba settled and your aunt. Pause. You will be grey haired yourself if you wait that long. So Beam is always talking sarcastically, right? As he said that, when she said that you are lessening my worries by taking Tara off. Okay, so similarly she is also saying that, um, this, if really Bakul wants to stay or pause or to wait for the decision, or to get these people, um, get these people okay in their lives, if he can wait for that long, he would he would be aged person. Okay, they know Tara, they love her, and since I am to go to Ceylon shortly, they will agree on an early marriage. That is what um, is said. They here means the parents of Bakul, that as they know that he is to leave shortly for Ceylon, that is Sri Lanka, um, they would agree for an early marriage. So they have already planned for the marriage, they have talked about the marriage. So this is just a garb to help the situation to ease down, to create a situation where it's just a formality that you cannot just take away by saying that I am going to marry Tara now. Okay, it is just a formality that uh, Bakul is showing Beam by saying that he would wait for Raja and Aunt Meera to cure or whatever. Okay, so pause in Beam's sentence. In the next sentence that I will be reading is very evident. It shows that an early marriage, see a pause, that is exactly what I would like for Tara. So the pause in Beam's sentence shows that what actually is happening with Tara and what actually won't happen with Beam. Okay, so it will suit her and she will suit you. Blessings, blessings. All she called lightly. Tara, half hidden behind the door, and began to laugh again. She saw Tara half hidden behind the door. So what we see here is that in spite of Beam being a bit sarcastic, in spite of Beam being a bit um, engrossed within his own life with his family members, in spite of that, she is there, she is talking, she is there to help anything which might help the family member who is not ill, well, whether physically or mentally, uh, who is not ill, to get a happy life. Okay, she is never jealous. Her jealousy is never shown here. She is not jealous at all. Beam is not jealous at all. She is the kind of the mother figure. She is kind of the head of the family who is there to help everyone. Okay, that is what she is doing. But what we see here is that the pause, actually shows the gap. Actually, what is not going to happen with Beam. Okay, so Bakul was happier now that she laughed. He waved his cigarette in the air. I will have to buy you a bottle of Blacko for your hair. Beam, he teased. I won't have you coming grey haired to my wedding. Can't have such an elderly sister in law. I can't. You have to dye your hair for the wedding. Beam, and they laughed together. She tugging her hair strand in the hair and drawing elegant designs in the air with the cigarette. The dog suddenly pounced upon the flea. So what we see here is that this section shows the vulnerability of Beam again, that and the dutiful Beam also, the character of Beam. Bhim is not just dutiful to the people who are in who are patients actually, right, who are not just to be taken care of. He also the takes care of the situation where a person is in a happy state. Okay, that is Tara, who needs so called permission, who needs a so called permission to get married. She takes care of that in order to make the flowing of the family smooth. She could have said that she won't allow this, she won't allow the member of the family to move out. She could be hysteric, she could burst out that how could I manage these things without Tara and everything. But the character of Beam shows here is that she is much more concerned about the well-being of all the family members than her own. Okay, she is much more concerned with that, whether it is curing people out of their disease or helping Tara to get out of the family and to lead a happy life. Okay, to lead a happy life simply. That is her main concern, that is Beam's main concern, to fulfill the wishes of everyone. But unfortunately, there is not a single person to be there to stand beside Beam in her distress. She does not even care for that. She is emotionally vulnerable, obviously. There is chances of her to get out of this morbidity, get out of this situation, but she does not choose that. She chooses her family over her own well-being. That is her sacrifice. Okay, it might appear that this is done by everyone, every head of the family, but the tragedy, a kind of simple tragedy, is in the fact that she was not supposed to be a tragic hero or heroine, but her choices made her so. But what we feel here is that she is left alone. She did things for people, but people left her, and the misunderstanding followed. Okay, so we will continue the next sections in next classes. Thank you for listening.